never completely put this place down as being less than all the beautiful places I've gone since leaving it. Because like if I was a kid and I was growing up here, this would be paradise. Like I did not grow up in a place like this. I grew up in Monterey area, and I couldn't drive to Monterey and Carmel from where I was at, about 40 minutes out. And so I didn't really spend a lot of time on the beaches until I was in my teens. And then I went the other direction to Santa Cruz. I thought I'd do a little walk and talk today since I haven't done a video in a bit. I'm about to kick off more videos and get on with my journey and continue the van life. I've been in Wilhelmina van for going on 4 years. When it was too hot in Texas, I slept in my barbershop, but mostly it was inside the van. And for the last year, when I left last August, I was crashing out in the van, and I've been in Coeur d'Alene in the van since I left. So I have officially been van life, and I say all that because, you know, a lot of people kind of, peg what a real van lifer is as being you live in your van and on the road. But really, what I think that is just those are the channels people want to watch. It's not necessarily that you're not doing van life, because if you're living in a van, you're definitely lifing in a van. So what I'm saying to you is that I've been van lifing. I've been working, making money, saving money, so I can take those trips. And I left Coeur d'Alene on the 29th and headed to Bend, Oregon, where I went to descend on Bend. Anyway, I left Coeur d'Alene, and I was very excited to leave. I was stoked to be like actually driving away. I was like, what the? 8 months at a job I hated, let's just be honest. I spent some time in Bend. I took off to go down the coast to the beaches that I said I wanted to go to, and something hit me, and I turned around, I flipped around, backtracked like 45 minutes to hightail it back to Texas. I said I wasn't gonna do that. Why? Because it's so stinking hot. But here I am in Texas, back in Marble Falls, where it all started, right down there by that chunk of concrete. And I started doing my walk and talk. This is where I started. I remember when I said, I have 4 people watching these videos, 4 people. And now there's 881 of you. My channel's on the verge of being monetized. 120 people away, that's 1 video, 2 videos that actually get watched. If all of my people would watch my videos for, a couple months, just watch it. They hit the bell, subscribe, and watch the videos, they would put me over the top probably. I have several videos that have upwards of 5 and 10 and 40,000 views. And they're all about the van, which is great. I am trying to switch up my direction, because if I'm going to put that much hard work into YouTube, I feel like I have to make sure it sustains. And the algorithm is awesome, and it's terrifying, because let's just mention the girl from Travel Snacks. She changed her channel from Travel Snacks name to Allison Sharp. She's now not doing van life, but she's finding it hard to go from doing van life to her new topics, because the algorithm will not share it to all the places like before. She's got 75,000 subscribers, and she switched it up in the middle of that. So some would say not a very smart move, and then some would say, hey man, follow your heart. And that's me. I say follow your heart. I think she's doing a good thing. She's a Christian person. She shares her faith. She shares stories. She talks about escaping a cult. She's going to talk about exposing cults. It's a whole new direction than talking about what food you ate on the road. But she got 75,000 subscribers doing that. She's intelligent. And she made it happen over time. But she lived in a van, and she got to a point where she couldn't live in a van anymore. And she quit. I personally would have taken a different route, but it's okay. All I can say is that God bless her. I believe it's going to work out for her. I think she's tenacious and able to do the things that God's calling her to do, and He will bless it. So fantastic. For me, I would love to have videos that were getting 40,000 views, 50,000 views, that weren't about me lifting my minivan, which I never set out for that to happen, to just be focused. The algorithm only really putting my most watched videos are all about Wilhelmina, what I've done to Wilhelmina. And that's great, but I need new pillars, what I call them, pillars of consistent material that I do, where the algorithm notices, hey, this is another avenue he's doing, and boom. So that's why I'm taking so long to get things going, aside from life being life, and y'all know that life is not easy, and that every time you get ready to do something cool, something stupid happens that slows you down. And right before I left, I had like 4 or 5 things go wrong with the van. Leaks. And it all was found due to just a random, you know what? I've never done a coolant change on Wilhelmina. I've never swapped out the coolant or did the radiator flush. And apparently on Toyota Siennas, you don't do flushes. You just drain it really good and you replace the fluid. But if you don't, every 50 to 100,000 miles, earlier is better, then that old coolant gets corrosive, and it starts rotting and eating at all your gaskets. So I had a rack and pinion. The complete rack went out. It was leaking like pools, conveniently right after they changed the power steering pump. And then I had the 2 axle seals, the CV axle seals, which I had already had one replaced, and I did them both back in when I took off the aftermarket ones and put the Toyota ones back on for the lift. Those axle seals were bad. The guy here installed them wrong, bad parts, and I said, I don't want any parts that y'all fix my van with to be anything but Toyota OEM original parts. And so everything's original. It cost a crap ton more money than it would have if I just got an aftermarket, but they wouldn't have lasted. I'd been fixing it again somewhere down the road, and I didn't want that to happen while I was driving. So Wilhelmina has about $4,000 of mechanical work that we just did to her, and I was thanking God for the fact that I had the money to do it, although it was part of my savings for these road trips. So now I find myself with less time to get out there and do my thing. So anyway, long story short, we got 13 minutes here. I just wanted to do a walk and talk and let you guys know I'm doing good. I landed back in Texas. Why did I come back to Texas after saying I wasn't going to come back to Texas? I had this totally nagging thing going on. My van was so heavy with all the stuff that I brought to Coeur d'Alene to live there for a while, and I couldn't leave it there. I just felt like, man, I got this shed in Texas. I've got all this stuff here in Coeur d'Alene, all my instruments, all my studio gear, speakers, racks, monitor stands. I had all the stuff with me. I sold 2 of my guitars that I'd never play. Unfortunately, the ones that were on the wall at Mark's. I got rid of them at a pawn store. They bought them for cheap, and I left with more money. But here's the good part. I've been gone to Bend, to Ascend on Bend, down the coast, back into Texas, unloaded all my stuff from the van, lightened it up just tremendously. Like when I would take a turn, it would go whoosh, because there was so much weight on the top. I just couldn't do that anymore. I didn't feel like I could take the whole coast driving and feeling good about all that stuff on the top of my roof in a waterproof bag strapped down. It looked like the Beverly Hillbillies going to Hollywood or something. I was totally just being tore up. Every time I drove anywhere, got gas, it seemed like my gas was flying off. It was just going away, burning up so fast. I was ready to unload. So I flipped around, a couple circumstances on the way to California. I was in California, and I turned around and came back to Texas, and I went all the way through Reno and all this. It was some terrible, just boring highways all the way back. It was terrible. I don't want to do that again. But I got back, unloaded everything. I still got to fix the clutter in Wilhelmina. I still got to do all the things that make it look clean. I'm going to take the front seat out. I'm going to put the floorboard in there, and I'm putting back my big refrigerator because I bought the little Bouge RV one because I had, for whatever reason, left the refrigerator, the Alpicool, in my shed. And I took my cooler because I thought, I'm going ice. It takes too much power to run this refrigerator. But now I have the 2,500 watt inverter generator. So that means I could stop on the side of the road and charge it for, you know, a few hours and get almost fully charged on all my batteries. Stoked about that. Now I don't need to find a place to plug in, which I could never do before. Man, all this stuff. But I flipped it around, went back to Texas. My mom was just crying, happy to see me. Saw my daughter, my grandson. I'm gonna stay here until my mom's birthday this September, a couple weeks away. I'm going to, I have a plan, and I was gonna share that with you, but as plans go, you just never know if it's actually gonna happen because of life and because of circumstance, because of things that, you know, like me, I'm led by the Holy Spirit. I'm a Christian person, and I feel things in my heart about life and about decisions I make. And I almost bought a stinking used van, a killer vibey van. That was a big Dodge, long thing, had a high top, had the school bus door that opened. It was rad, it had vibe. But I was smart. I put it in the shop. I had it completely tested out. They found 3 leaks. They didn't know where they were coming from. They said you have to get it pressure washed if you want to find out. And they found suspension problems. And I said, wow, do I want to be in Coeur d'Alene for another 8 months, fixing this van, building it out, and being here at this job I hate? No. So I decided not to fix it, not to buy it. And plus I felt bad about Wilhelmina. She had been acting, I think that's why she broke down. Like, honestly, I think, no, I'm just kidding. She didn't know anything, but kind of convenient that I found all those leaks on a random coolant change that I never have done before. Just, hey, the Car Care Net on YouTube said, change the coolant. You'll be glad you did. If you want your van, your minivan to run for 1,000,000 miles, this is the things you need to do. Changing the coolant is one of them. So I changed the coolant, found out my flipping, yeah, and then the alternator went bad, the rack and pinion went bad, this pump went bad. I changed out that stuff. What else was there? Alternator, rack, oh yeah, seals on the axle. Everything they did was over $1,000. Every one job that they did. So, except for the coolant. The coolant thing was like $300 or something. Very expensive, but I wanted them to do it because the guy there was a former Toyota mechanic, and they did everything pretty clean. They did leave some parts off that I, with my inspection, found and went back to them. They fixed it. Just the other day, almost to Texas, or actually back in Texas, not quite here, my dash lit up with lights. And they had a code. I went to AutoZone, I used their computer, I found the code, found out it was a right front wheel speed sensor. So I watched a YouTube video. Let me just say this, I'm gonna be honest when I say this with my heart. I love you, YouTube. Okay? I love YouTube because, man, how many times has it saved my butt? When my shifter thing broke, I knew exactly what to do. It was a pain in my butt, taking all the stuff off to get to it. The whole dash underneath and the side things by the seats, everything had to come off. It was a hard job, but I found a video specifically teaching me how to do it. Well, the front sensor thing, it seemed complicated, and it was. if it was really going bad. So it kept coming on and going off, and that told me something, that it was working sometimes and then other times it wasn't. But suddenly all my lights on my dash would go on, and that was the code. So I watched some video, and the guy said, hey, it might be broken, it might have some rust underneath it, you got to unscrew it. And I thought, so I turned my wheel all the way in the shade at the gas station where I was, and I put my hand in there, I found it, and it was shaking. It was totally loose, like the people who did the rack and pinion did not tighten it. Same people. It was completely loose. It was just sitting there in there, just rattling. So I got my socket and I tightened that bad boy up, and sure enough, it's been days. Thank you, Lord. The lights are gone, they're not coming back. My front speed sensor is not broken, it's fixed. Thank God, because I put all that work and money into it, and then the lights come on, I'm like, no! So anyway, that's that. I'm back in Texas temporarily. My mom's birthday's on the 26th. I plan on chilling out, and then the next tentative plan is this. And I think I want to tell you before I forget that I have a couple videos. The one on what I did to the van before I left, and the ones that I did on the way to Bend. And I think it's real patchy because I was going through a couple things at the moment, and my energy for recording was not there. I got to Bend, it was a little like not my jam. The music, the people were all cool. It was cool. The vibe was live. And it was good. Most people would have loved it, but I was just in a certain zone because of the life that's happening. And I just relaxed and was watching people, ate some decent food, met a couple key people that were absolutely inviting and cool and talked to me. And the whole time, that's pretty much one person I hung out with. He was a vendor there, really cool dude. Other than that, I've told him, man, I wish everyone was as cool. I wish everyone was as inviting and open to getting to know people, because then they would get to know Vinnie Van, that awesome van lifer that lives in a little minivan. Anyway, most people were not impressed with my rig there. A couple people were, but most people were like, oh, you got a minivan? I love the Sprinters, or the box trucks, or any of the vehicles there that were just like outrageous. But you know what? All those people, they're not living full-time in their van. They're coming from a house. They got a career. It's cool. Do your weekend warrior thing. But don't knock the dude that's been living in a van for 4 years and put his whole sting of life into building that thing as good as he could and making sure it was mechanically sound so I didn't end up on the side of the road. Don't do it. There's my tangent. My next videos, and thank you for watching for 23 minutes 41 seconds. My next not videos, but my next destination. As you all know, if you watch my other videos, I have some dental issues that come from a thing that I've been going through about 25 years and maybe 30 years, and it's affected my blood pressure, my thyroid, my energy levels. I finally found out it was insulin resistance, which means that I'm eating too much and eating too many carbs and processed foods. So I started the carnivore diet and started attacking it. I've lost like almost 20 pounds or 22 pounds since I started. And I don't know if you notice it all on my face, but it's going from different places. And I'm picking up my bouncer, my trampoline when I'm here, so I can do that on the road. But my next place that I'm going, if you heard me say that there's this little town in Mexico called Los Algodones, and it's on the border of Yuma, Arizona. And today I woke up and watched a couple videos, and the video was about long-term camping on BLM land in Yuma. It was Bob Wells from Cheap RV Living, and he was talking about how you could pay $180 and basically live there for 7 months. And I'm like, in Yuma? And also, Yuma is a big city. It's a big town. So there's lots of work. There's lots of jobs. I looked it up. There's like 18 or 25 something barbershops there. And I was like, what? So I need dental work. As you guys probably noticed, I have holes in my face. And I've been suffering from unnatural dental issues for some time now. So I need some major dental work, and it's way too expensive to happen here in the US. Literally the price they gave me here, the prices I've gotten from several dentists here for my teeth to be fixed, or at least get on the road to where I can talk and sing and be myself again. This is not myself, so just imagine if I was actually being myself and open and totally raring to go. The price there is less than a quarter of what it is here. So I'm very excited about having something done about that finally. So that is the plan. And before I do that, I want to go some more cool and hit some beaches. So let's find out what's next. I don't know, stay tuned. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the bell, do all the good things for me, because that's going to help me get monetized. I'm kind of making that push for monetization because I would love to do this. I'd love to upgrade. God bless you, Wilhelmina, but a boy's got to stand up sometimes. So hopefully someday soon I will be able to have a situation where I'm upgraded, where I afforded that, and I feel like maybe Yuma could do that for me. I could make some money. I could get a new rig, something to upgrade, and make my life a little simpler, a lot simpler. And I saw a lot of box trucks at the Descend on Ben thing. I saw a lot of different situations that I thought were, man, awesome. The biggest thing for me though, besides standing up, is dependability. Can you know that your car is not breaking down on the freeway or in the mountains or somewhere you just don't want to break down? You buy an old truck, you buy an old car, an old whatever, camper, and you think that thing's gonna get you somewhere because right now it's running like a top. I'm telling you right now, there are 1 million things that could go wrong, and they do. And they go wrong one after the other. Kaboosh, kaboosh, kaboosh. One after the other. And they do on newer cars. My car's 16 years old. So let me just tell you something. I put a lot of money into that motor, into that suspension, into that lift, those tires, all the things that make this thing livable. I put a lot of money into it, and there's reasons for that. And I was able to do it. I'm not wealthy at all. I mean, I haven't been able to save all that much money in Coeur d'Alene, even though I made decent money. It wasn't as good as here in Marble Falls when I had my shop, but it was good. And I made pretty decent money. So all I'm saying to you is this: if you are planning on getting a vehicle to live in, your number one concern, number one, is dependability. And how do you find that? How do you make sure it's dependable? You have to get it inspected fully. I took mine to the Toyota dealership and I had them check everything. And so what I'm telling you is do it. Do the work. I know it's a pain in the butt, but do the work. Make sure that sucker is nice. And if you've already bought it and you do it and it has all these issues, you're not gonna find something better. You're gonna spend a lot more money finding another thing. So what I did is when I bought Wilhelmina for $6,000 and I had the engine light, I just went down the line. I had it all inspected and went down the line. Check, 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 check. Fixed everything. This is what I did out there. Had it checked out, fixed everything. It's cost more money to fix that thing up to make it awesome than I paid for it. So I've got maybe 25 grand into that thing right now. And that includes the Blue 80 batteries and the stuff I've bought to make it livable. So just saying, if you're gonna buy a truck, a van, box truck, RV, if it's old, definitely do your due diligence. Have the list made of all the things that are wrong with it and all of the things you could do to make it awesome. Whether it's wiring or grommets or gaskets or rebuilding something, do it. It's worth it. Be smart. Buy something good. If it has problems, fix it. Don't get out there and break down. So that's my advice for the day. That's what I'm doing. That's the update from Vinnie Van. And I am that Vinnie Van guy. I do all the good things with those buttons. And sincerely, God bless you. 2023 right now. We're moving into 2024 soon. There's a lot of things in the air about evil stuff coming down the pike. Beware. Be smart. Be courageous. Stay tuned for my stuff, my other videos. When I get down to editing, I will put them up. Be patient with me. If you're just getting to this channel, please subscribe. do all the good things, help me get over 1,000 and the views. Watch some videos. Thank you. Catch you guys later. They just ate a birthday cake these people put out for them. It was only missing like one piece, and they ate it in like 1 minute. There was about 20 birds though.